this product, which has many, many fathers and mothers now, came to us via Vodafone. Vodafone participated in a proposal that was set out by DFID, the UK development arm, about trying to deepen the financial penetration into the unbanked community, to come up with some proposals. A guy called Nick Hughes in Vodafone came up with this idea of using money or using the mobile phone for the disbursement and repayment of microfinance loans. And they asked us, Safaricom, fortunately, if they could trial it here in Kenya. And we agreed, and a big committee was set up with the banks and the microfinance industry and lots of other people, and we did a trial in 2006 in Thika. And the trial was very successful, but what they did find was that the people were using it for something else other than just making microfinance loans repayments. They were actually sending money from one person to another, because you could do that with the system. So they came back to me in late 2006 and said, look, we think there could be something else in this. And we talked about it. And then I decided to let them go ahead and that we could actually develop something that could be used to send money home. That was the original idea, to send money home. And, it required a tremendous amount of investment and a tremendous amount of sort of risk, because nobody knew if it would work. We knew that it would only work if the people who were receiving the money from the towns actually had some place where they could do a cash out. So it means we had to establish a network of agents. And, we decided to do this, and we went ahead and did this. And, we got permission from the central bank, the regulator, to allow us to do this, because there weren't any regulations around this, and just purely send money home. And that was sort of the selling point of this product. So we launched this in March 2007, not knowing how successful or unsuccessful this product would be. But I had an inkling that this would be a fantastic product, but I didn't know how big, quite honestly. I really didn't know. And it's now famous now, but I said to my team at the time, how many customers will we have? And they said, the business plan says 350,000 by the end of this year. And this is now in March. And I said, no, you can't. It's impossible. You've got to have 1 million customers. And they said, it's impossible. We will not get 1 million customers. I said, well, if you don't get 1 million customers, I'm going to fire you. Now, said somewhat tongue-in-cheek. But they set out to do this. And, we had a big barometer chart in the department in Safaricom, where we sort of measured how many customers we signed up. And we had by December that year, we had 1.2 million active customers. Yeah, really tremendous. But that meant, what that really meant is that we hit the tipping point. So it became viral after that. And that was the key. But, we learned a lot of lessons along the way, and a lot of things we didn't know whether we were doing right or we were doing wrong. But the key was the distribution network. We had to have a ubiquitous distribution network. We had to have a good, strong brand. It had to stand out in the community. The product had to work all the time. The agents had to float. We had to do a lot of training. We had to combat all sorts of fraud. And, the product, it took off from there, from the proposition of sending money home took off. People used it to send money home. And then people started to use it for other things as well. And, since then, this product has grown tremendously. So today we have over 15 million active customers, which means people who actually have made an M-Pesa transaction in the last 30 days. We are moving something between $500 to $700 million a month through the M-Pesa system, about 20% of the GDP of Kenya. And it has a huge knock-on effect in the success of a mobile operator. This is really a key message that I mentioned many times. Why a mobile operator? Why isn't it bank-led? Why is it mobile phone-led? The reason for that is simple. A mobile phone operator doesn't need to make money from M-Pesa. It's nice if they do, but they don't need to, because the benefit for them is the stickiness and loyalty of the customer. That's the benefit for the mobile phone operator. For a bank, the bank will normally need to make this profitable in the first 6 to 9 months, because they would want to see a return on their investment, and therefore they need to make money on the transaction fees. I think banks are more wanting to get into this space. Now, they're getting into the space for the wrong reason, in my opinion. They see that these customers that we have now are their customers, and they should be providing services to them. The unfortunate thing is that banks don't quite understand that the customers that are our customers are poor people. They can't afford to pay over the odds for any type of banking services. You want to transfer $100 from one person to another, or let's say $100, let's say $50 from one person to another. It probably will cost you $5. That's the way banks work. Now, in our case, we charge, not $5, we charge 50 cents for that transaction. So we have different charging mode, and banks, are their philosophy is that for every transaction that you do, there should be a charge, and that charge is what the market can bear. But having said all that, I think banks are coming now to the party to say if they want to serve the mass market, they have to have a different pricing structure and a different way of looking at their customers. And I think in India, for instance, that's starting to work. In South Africa, to some extent, the bank is starting to understand. And I think in Kenya, you will see, hopefully, by the time this thing goes out, you will see some very innovative products coming from Safaricom, which once again will be world first, and that will be in partnership with the bank.